Welcome to the Colorado Real Estate Leaders Podcast, brought to you by Trailstone Insurance Group, bringing you interviews with Colorado's best real estate and mortgage professionals, empowering you to understand the current trends in the housing market so you can make the American dream your reality. Enjoy today's episode.
It's a great day in Colorado, and welcome to the Colorado Real Estate Leaders Podcast. Today, we have with us Pat Gillen, who's the VP of Sales with American Financing. Pat, welcome to the program.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, doing really good. Looking forward to chatting with you. It's always great to learn from people from their various perspectives of life and business. So get us started first with what's your story? What's your background, and how did you get into the real estate and financing industry?
If you don't mind, first off, I just wanted to say how much I like your guys' podcast. I know it comes out on Fridays, and it's become a routine of mine to pull it up on my way home from a stressful week of work, and I'm excited every week to learn about somebody new in Colorado market. So
awesome,
thank you guys for that.
Yes, thank you.
How I got in the mortgage industry? I know everyone's. That's just such a fun question. Everyone's story is so unique. But I honestly, I wanted nothing to do with the mortgage industry, and somehow I got into it anyways. In my case, I graduated, mid 2000s. My first job out of college was a consumer finance company. I did what I thought I was supposed to do as a young adult. Work for a big company and work as hard as I can and work my way up. And that's what I did. And 2.5 years later, I was promoted to running an office in Longmont. My company even gave me a relocation package, sold my house in Littleton, and I had a house under contract in Longmont. And you probably can figure out where this story is going when we're talking about 2008. But
yeah.
I got they let me know they were shutting down the division, and all of a sudden I had no job and I was homeless. It was crazy to me. Nobody ever. It just didn't make sense. Like, I thought if you worked as hard as you possibly could and you were good at your job, like, you can't lose your job. Like that, that wasn't a possibility. Like that idea didn't even make sense. And I grew up in the mean streets of Highlands Ranch, so I should have known better. But I did what any adult in their 20s would do, and I got back together with my ex-girlfriend and moved in with her.
Well, it's better than moving back here with mom and dad.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, though. Hey, there's always that possibility. But guess what you did? You didn't go, suck your thumb in the corner and go, what am I going to do? You were like, okay, cool. Here's the next step. And then you built from there and built from there.
Well, yeah, that still maybe wasn't the best idea, but it worked at the time. But like, what a blessing for my generation or people in my age range that in our 20s we went through that 2007 2009 economic crisis, that Great Recession. I mean, it just set us up for such success to be able to go through what I went through and a lot of us went through, which will obviously come up later with 2022. But it's just given me so much perspective and gratitude for everything I have now. I just think it's such a blessing that in my 20s was able to go through that and just have the right frame of mind for anything going on after that.
What if your parents owned a mortgage finance company and had thousands and thousands of clients, and you got out of school and they said, here's your VP job and here's this book of business. All the real estate agents are referring business and clients are calling you, and you'd never had to work for anything. Well, that's like the old cliche trust fund baby. Like, nobody appreciates money when it's just handed to them. Well, that's the opposite of what you're talking about here. You got the stool knocked out from under you, and you had to be fortified, figure out a way out, roll up your sleeves and get her done. And now you appreciate any level of success that you have because you remember what it felt like at the very beginning. And like you just mentioned, that was 07, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? Because it kind of kept on and on. And then there's this other little thing called COVID. Well, there's something going to be coming up in the future. It might be some other thing. There's always these ebbs and flows in life and business that we got to go, okay, here's what I woke up today to deal with. Let's get her done. And you work the problem, and it might be different, but you got to handle it the same way, going, what do I got to do to get through it, over it, around it, under it? Cool. That's just a mindset shift.
And you nailed it so much. I remember going through that too, and looking around and seeing, so many people that got their jobs and their businesses from, family relationships. And at the time, like, it was like, why can't I figure this out? Like, I always felt so successful, and going through that was just really, really life changing. So I just am so blessed for that. But anyways, I was pretty little shook and scared, to be honest. And I was, going through all the job boards and things like that, and there was a mortgage job that just, it looked like it would match up. So I know I didn't want to get into mortgages, especially during that time, from all the bad things you're hearing of what they did to the economy and how shady things were. But I didn't know what else to do, so I applied and went in and interviewed. And with my resume with the consumer finance office, it really looked like I knew mortgages. I didn't. I didn't know that I didn't, but I didn't. So the boss said, "This looks great." Sat me down at the desk. When I started the first week of January 2009. It was a smaller shop that they were surviving at the time, of just off of lowermybills.com leads. So that's a good way to learn. But yeah. I remember he was showing me how the phone worked and how you catch the new lowermybills.com leads that are coming in. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? I haven't earned this yet. I'm only gonna, don't worry about it. I'm only gonna call the old leads. He looked at me like I was a little bit crazy. He was like, okay, and walked away. And then I just got after it. I had my financial calculator, was ripping through people's credit reports, selling, figuring out how to sell debt consolidation and term to own with, paying everything off faster and savings. And a week and a half later, he walks up to my desk, and I just, I had these big, huge manila folders just filled with paper. So my desk was just full of folders. And he's like, "What? Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "It's going great." He's like, "Well, what's all this stuff on your desk?" I was like, "These are the loans I'm working on." He's like, "What loans you're working on? What are you talking about?" This was the HVCC didn't come out until May 2009 that year, so you could order your own appraisal. So I was figuring all of that out. But he was like, "You haven't turned these loans into processing. We haven't got title ordered. We need to get these loans to underwriting." And he looked at me, and as a joke, he's like, "Are any of these loans even locked?" And I looked back at him, and I knew I was in trouble. But I was like, "You guys lock loans?" He paused for a second. I paused for a second. I looked at him, and after a couple awkward moments, he goes, "Well, it looks like you're good at this, so let's figure it out."
Yeah, you've hustled and gotten a bunch of stuff in motion. Now let's do a little polish and tweak it and fine tune it and get them across the finish line.
Yep, and I'm sure we all know what this feeling is like, but you got bit by that mortgage bug, and I just in the moment at that time, good or bad, I just had this feeling. Well, I guess this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. So, all right. So that's how I got into the mortgage industry.
So that's how you got in the industry. That was in 2009. When did you move over to American Family, and why did you go there?
I've been at American Financing. I've been here for 10 years in just a couple months.
Okay.
And actually, there was a couple people that worked for American Financing that used to work for that company I was just talking about that were just hitting me up all the time that I just had to check out American Financing. And you always would hear this is back in 2013, but you'd always hear American Financing on every single commercial, all over the place, and it kind of sounded a little corny to me. So I was like, oh, okay, and then finally I was like, I'll come by, and I stopped by, met him, went through the sales floor, and it was just so. It was crazy. Like, it was such great energy. You could just feel the vibe. I just remember walking the sales floor, the buzz around the office. Like, it was just something special, and it hit me. I was like, this is immediately. I'm like, this is where I want to be. And I got started there.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. So now, obviously, you start in different pockets of time. It's like the refi boom, the purchase boom, and it shifts back and forth. But in reality, it doesn't matter whether you're, in one market or the other, refi or purchase. People have needs on understanding what they should do regarding their mortgage, getting a new one, scaling their house for home improvement, or refinancing. What are you finding is the typical client that you're working with?
Well, I just looked at some of the numbers today. 53% of our customers of our purchase closings this year are first-time home buyers.
Wow.
Which is great, but first-time home buyers it's what drives you. It's what gives you the most satisfaction and passion for what you do. But what I say is our ideal customer is our repeat customer. Yeah. There's three ways that I believe we need to measure ourselves of taking care of all the interactions we have. And I call it the 3 R's. One is repeat refinances, repeat purchases, and referrals. So what our ideal customers are taking care of all the people we work with and having them turn into the 3 R's to build something that's really, to build a business that just keeps compounding and growing and becoming stronger and stronger.
A lot of people would go, hey, do you want happy clients? And you're like, yeah. No, you really don't want happy clients, because they're sort of apathetic. They're like, yeah, that's cool, it's fine enough. You want raving fans. So what would you say, Pat, that you guys do, or you personally do, to make sure that your clients are raving fans to then set the stage for those repeat and referrals?
It's tough, because every situation is so different, and sometimes people don't truly know like what you were actually able to pull off, and how difficult things might have been. People don't really know how good you are until things go bad.
Yeah.
So I guess the biggest thing that we have is just such an amazing team, such amazing, well-run departments, from our operations and underwriting. We have, I believe, probably our best run department is our credit care, run by Evan Gilbert. He just last month alone, he had his hand in saving 31 files with credit care. That starts a lot with our customers coming in, finding ways to improve their credit, handle very difficult situations. So to answer your question, is is we get a lot of people that don't think that owning a home or being able to refinance is even a possibility, and being able to find them, to show them the way and show them their path of how they can accomplish their goals through things like, our credit care division with Evan, which is free. Our Nate Barrett, who runs our scenario desk, is just so talented, just knows everything in and out, is in so many files. We jump on the phone with our underwriter. I mean, everything, it's so great to have, such a great space, everything in office, everything in house. Like the second things don't look right, I mean, we can pick up the phone. We're speaking immediately with our underwriters, working with our scenario desk, credit care. Like, we just have such a great team and such great departments just working and pulling together for the same goal. So that's, I know customers don't really realize sometimes how difficult their transactions, may be, but a lot do.
Yeah. You said a huge point there where people don't know until something goes wrong. And I remember saying this to someone jokingly, it's almost like you want to throw a wrench in the works to get something to get all messed up so that you could be the hero and save it. But you don't ever want to do that. But here's just a takeaway is you don't want to say to the client, like, hey, I got to update you real quick and start going through this whole litany of the problem, because their mind is going, in 19 directions, the sky is falling. But the way I'm sure you guys are phrasing it is, we've got this solved. Everything's good to go. But let me tell you something. What we did was, and so now when they're, they already know that we're good to go, but when they're hearing like, we have our specialist that went to bat for you this, and we got this exception and we figured out this way. And I love hearing that you've got a scenario desk and you've got a specific department that are handling how to creatively solve this problem or how to fix this issue or how to structure it the right way. That's typically falling on the shoulders of the individual loan officer. You've got whole departments for that.
Yep. I mean, in our loan officers who we have now, especially in our purchase division, I mean, most of them were managers at our company, at other companies. I mean, we've really, have the absolute best of the best. That their knowledge is crazy, but that's compounded to another level with our support systems and our other departments that we have.
Well, and you just know that what you're saying has that element of truth to it, because there's a really powerful filter that would prove that you're right or wrong. And it's called online Google reviews. And if I'm reading correctly, you guys have a review or two, right?
We cleared 7,000
Yep.
a few weeks ago, I believe.
I'm staring at Google right now,
amazing.
and it's today 7,041. So you can talk a big talk and say we treat people right, and if you're not, telling the truth and you really are not treating people right, it's going to be reflected right there. And you've got a 4.7 rating with over 7,000 reviews. That is all the proof you need. That is monstrous.
It is. It is a lot. I'm glad you looked that up, and I'm glad I knew that number too.
Yep.
Another thing that to me really shows it in our numbers is, I'm looking at January, February, March, and April this year, and every single month, our number of repeat closings has gone up. Our number of repeat our referrals has gone up. So I mean, it's taking care of people. I'm looking right at it, and every month we keep just doing better and better and better.
That's we could go down the path of the rah personal development kind of a thing for hours on end here, but in reality, you've probably heard this before. We don't compete against other people as much as we compete against ourselves, and that's what you just described there. Hey, if we can compete against our previous quarter or month numbers and we're bettering our repeat and referrals, that's where we're focused on. Yeah, the other guys out there, we need to do well, but boy, if we're getting more referrals, more repeat, that's the foundation of success, because we know we did a good job and they came back to us. We know we did a good job and they trust us enough to refer us to their friend. And that's a big hit on your reputation if you refer someone and then you don't do a good job. So tracking that metric alone is just a really huge focus. I like that.
And one thing that is very, very clear with us that I make sure is we want the best for everybody. Like, people that used to work here that don't anymore, or, maybe some of our competition. Like, I speak with a lot of those people, every week of, seeing what they're doing, truly rooting them on. I get plenty of help and support and advice from, our community. That's one reason I love your podcast, is learning about other people. And like, we have a real abundance mentality here. Like, we're not in competition with everybody. We want the best for, we want the best for everybody. I want one of my core convictions is treating people, is constantly building relationships, and we want to spread good vibes out there to everybody. So, I mean, we want everyone to be successful and as good as possible. Just a real abundance mentality is something that's important in our culture.
I love it. Well, Pat, it's been just a sincere pleasure learning from you, chatting with you, hearing about your journey and your story and the great work that you're doing. So if someone is listening to this, wanted to find out more and reach out, connect with you guys, what's the best way that they can do that?
I know everybody typically gives their cell phone. That's what they're most comfortable with. I 100% am. My cell phone is 303-908-9559. Some people are a little more comfortable on LinkedIn. I've never not responded to a message. I respond to every single message. If that's something that you're more comfortable with, hit me up on LinkedIn, Patrick.Gillen. And my email is great, obviously, too. If that's how you want to do it, I'll make sure, everything's responded to as well. Pat.Gillen@AmericanFinancing.net.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a real pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, guys. That was really fun.
Thank you for listening to the Colorado Real Estate Leaders Podcast, brought to you by Trailstone Insurance Group. To learn more about the topics mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.coloradorealestateleaders.com.